Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've ever had a neighbor who just can't stand a little holiday cheer, or you've been told your decorations are too much, you're going to love today's story. This one is for anyone who believes in going all out, spreading joy, and maybe ruffling a few feathers along the way. So grab your favorite snack, get comfy, and let me tell you how my holiday lights went from neighborhood nuisance to award-winning spectacle. Have you ever tried to do something nice, only to have someone complain about it? That was me, just trying to bring a little sparkle to the block when suddenly I became public enemy number one. But instead of backing down, I decided to take things to a whole new level. And trust me, the results were brighter and louder than anyone expected. But before we get into the show, let me take a moment to wish something special for you. If you're watching this, I want to say a quick prayer for you and your loved ones. May your days be filled with light, your nights with peace, and may you always have the courage to shine, no matter who tries to dim your joy. Amen. All right, let's set the scene. I live in a neighborhood where the holidays are a big deal. Every December, people go all out, wreaths, inflatable snowmen, twinkling lights. But there's always that one person who thinks less is more. Enter Mrs. Grayson, the self-appointed holiday police. She's the type who measures her garland with a ruler and files complaints if your lights are too bright or your reindeer are facing the wrong direction. Now, I love the holidays. I grew up in a house where the decorations went up the day after Thanksgiving and didn't come down until February. So when I moved into this neighborhood, I was excited to bring a little of that magic to my own home. I strung up lights, set out a few decorations, and even put a wreath on the mailbox. Nothing too wild, at least not at first. The first year, I kept it simple. But even then, Mrs. Grayson wasn't happy. She left a note in my mailbox. "Your lights are too bright. Please be considerate of your neighbors." I shrugged it off and turned the lights off a little earlier each night. But the next year, she complained again. This time to the HOA. I got an official notice. "Please ensure your holiday decorations comply with community standards." No specifics, just a warning. By the third year, I realized it didn't matter what I did. Mrs. Grayson was going to complain no matter what. That's when I decided if I was going to get in trouble, I might as well make it worth it. I started researching holiday light shows. You know the ones. Synchronized to music, lights dancing in time with classic carols and pop hits. I watched hours of YouTube tutorials, read forums, and even reached out to a local electrician for advice. I wanted my house to be the talk of the town, not just for Mrs. Grayson, but for everyone who needed a little extra joy. I invested in a programmable light controller, picked up a few extra strands of LEDs, and started planning my playlist. I chose songs that everyone would love. Jingle Bell Rock, All I Want for Christmas Is You, and of course, Let It Go for the kids. I spent weeks setting everything up, testing the timing, and making sure every bulb was in place. The weekend after Thanksgiving, I flipped the switch. The lights came to life, twinkling and flashing in perfect sync with the music. I set up a sign with a radio frequency so people could listen from their cars. Within minutes, cars started lining the street. Kids pressed their faces to the windows, parents snapped photos, and even a few neighbors brought out lawn chairs to watch the show. But not everyone was happy. Mrs. Grayson stood on her porch, arms crossed, glaring at the spectacle. I could practically feel her dialing the HOA as the first chorus of Jingle Bell Rock echoed down the block. The next morning, I found another note in my mailbox. "Your lights are a nuisance. Please remove them immediately." This time, I didn't back down. I checked the HOA rules. Nothing about music-synced lights, nothing about radio frequencies. As long as the lights were off by 10 p.m., I was in the clear. I kept the show going every night. More and more people came by, some even bringing hot chocolate and cookies. Local news caught wind of the display and did a segment on the house that dances. Suddenly, my house was famous. People from other neighborhoods drove over just to see the show. Pause. Have you ever gone all out for the holidays or had a neighbor who just couldn't handle your cheer? Drop your story in the comments or just type Team Lights if you're all about spreading joy. And if you're enjoying this, hit that like button so we can keep the holiday spirit shining. Mrs. Grayson wasn't done. She called an emergency HOA meeting, demanding that my light show be shut down. The board reviewed the rules, listened to complaints, and even came by to see the display for themselves. But when they saw the crowds of happy families, the kids dancing on the sidewalk, and the smiles all around, they realized this was exactly the kind of community spirit the holidays were about. The board decided to hold a neighborhood contest for the best holiday display. Mrs. Grayson was furious, but the rest of the neighborhood was thrilled. People started adding more lights, more decorations, and even a few synchronized displays of their own. The whole street turned into a winter wonderland. The night of the contest, the street was packed. Judges walked up and down, taking notes, chatting with neighbors, and enjoying the music. When they got to my house, the crowd cheered, and the lights danced in perfect time to All I Want for Christmas Is You. Even the judges couldn't help but smile. When the results were announced, my house won first place. The prize, a giant trophy shaped like a snowflake, a gift card to the local hardware store, and, best of all, bragging rights for the whole year. The crowd erupted in applause, and even a few of the more reserved neighbors admitted they'd never seen anything like it. Mrs. Grayson? Well, she still grumbled, but even she couldn't argue with the joy the display brought to the neighborhood. The HOA updated the rules to allow for music-synced lights, as long as they weren't too late or too loud. The next year, even more people joined in, and the contest became an annual tradition. As for me, I made new friends, brought the community together, and proved that a little extra effort and a lot of lights can turn even the biggest Grinch into a fan. Every time I see a car slow down to watch the show or hear a kid singing along from the sidewalk, I know it was all worth it. So, what's the lesson here? Don't let anyone dim your light. If someone tries to shut down your joy, turn it up. Stand your ground, know your rights, and remember that the holidays are about bringing people together. Sometimes, the best way to handle a complaint is to create something so wonderful, even the critics can't help but smile. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs a little holiday cheer. And remember, may your days be merry, your lights be bright, and your spirit never fade. Happy holidays, everyone!